That's you practice certain dances at the crib.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, like us girls, we don't twerk outside. Like I don't twerk outside, but at home.
Got you.
What? In my bedroom?
Last time you be in the mirror.
The bathroom?
I do be in the mirror.
I am twerking. I'm in booby trap in my head.
Look at y'all. See, y'all done caught us at a time, man. Y'all caught us at a time.
But then I get outside, I'm a vibe, but I'm gonna turn everybody else up. I'm gonna turn everybody.
You gotta cut the beard.
But look, y'all, man, what's up, y'all? We back at the Gentleman's Lounge, man. Lounge Talk. We back with me, AJ. We got Jared, and we got Les, man. We got a special guest today. We got Jay Storm in the building.
Jay Storm.
Hey, if we can get some claps.
Yeah.
I'm so happy
Good friend of mine. Good friend of mine, man. Good friend of ours, man. For real.
Man.
Like, I don't even know if y'all know, man. Jay Storm is a legend to me. I don't know what you say, but she's a legend to me. But not only do you have a musician, right? You got a ambassador / influencer. Shout out to Grey Goose for representing as they always do. Social media content. So she man, I've had her do some posts for me. I'm like, yo, let's see what you got. Yeah. And she destroyed it. I'm like,
bro, I swear she be. I'm convinced that she got a professional camera or something. Like one of these cameras, cause bro.
I had one.
And at first she told me, she's like, oh, y'all be doing it on Snapchat. Ain't no way.
I got tricks. I can't tell you all my tricks.
Hey y'all. Let me tell y'all. Jay just started following me about an hour ago.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I've been following her for a little moment. I've been looking at shit. I'm like, man, that's Jay. I think I seen her out one time. We was kicking. I'm like, hey, she looked at me all crazy. Like, I don't know that nigga.
Peasant.
But you know what I'm saying? I had to pick a bone with her today. Like, man, I followed you for some time. Can I get a follow back, please?
it's one of those things where you gotta see somebody more often. If I don't see you often, then it's like, I ain't gonna just follow you.
I'm like, hi, Jay Storm. He was like, we met before. I followed you. You ain't follow me back. I was like, my bad. I was like, let me get my phone right now. I'm so sorry.
I'd be like, you and your feelings
got
on
me, man.
You and your feelings already.
I'm sorry. He was.
Hell yeah.
I was like, oh, handsome first name. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. You already
don't get me started on that. Handsome Tina.
You know what I'm saying? You like when we
he came in today.
It's a background with the name, but we're gonna talk about that.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it later.
Lester hates this man.
I do hate it. I hate it. Bro, you never had this name, Handsome Phenom. You did not have it when I followed him. Either that or I was drunk when I followed you.
Bro, you wouldn't have followed him?
Let's be clear.
I had that name since 18, bro.
Man, I must have followed you like 30 minutes ago. Let's be clear. Because if you let's just say it's a dude that follows me, right? And I'm like, okay, I might have met you in passing or something like that. But when I go to your profile, if I see you got nothing but your shirt off and you oiled up, I go through 3 pictures. I'm like, bro, I'm good. I don't know you. There's no way I can't do it. There's no way I'm right about that shit. I don't want to see you on my feed.
On the
and it's nothing but like these beach bodies. Right, I'm looking like
you want them to look more like Wahoo.
But I ain't gonna lie. I want more lifestyle.
I'm just saying,
That used to be me when I was like 18, 21, 22, early on when I was single in the streets. I was over there for the ladies, man, flicking selfies, videos, all that stupid shit. But then after, he's right.
He said I used to be me, but
did you fall in love? Did you fall in love?
He did. That's a great.
I can't do that.
Question.
I don't post myself very often. I post us and Gentleman's Lounge.
You 100% got.
And then when you fell in love,
I don't.
You got comfortable.
I got comfortable.
You got comfortable.
I gained about 20 pounds.
I'm just saying, sometimes we get comfortable.
That's happy weight.
Happy or maybe you should cook some different weight, or maybe
we about to get right into this.
Or maybe you ain't cooking weight.
We about to get right into this.
I'm eating out too much weight.
You ready? Jay is on the road.
Storm is right. We about to get right into this because
let's get to it.
This is a topic we're not even about to cover, but that shit is real.
That is,
where you meet somebody, you like, yo. Once y'all get married, once y'all move in, all that stuff happens, and you like, I never used to do these things. Like, what do you mean? Like, I never been just so comfortable just chilling all the time with you, and all of a sudden you see your body changing, and you just looking like, I used to be so.
I used to be
a handsome face.
Yeah,
living your glory days. Like, man, I used to be that nigga. I'm still in that nigga, but I'm just a different, in a different body type. That's all it is.
That's okay, and ain't no wrong with that.
It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. See, I'm already excited about that for real. Because the gang. Jay one of the homies anyway.
I feel like one of the guys. I came in, I was like, oh, look, I got the memo. We all had the J game on today. I was like, I got that.
Yeah, we all
one of the guys.
Put that shit on when she came on the Gentleman's Lounge.
Yeah, we got to start wearing Adidas right now, though, because, Kanye West probably gonna lose that contract in a minute. So it's
You say just start or stop?
we need to start wearing more of it until that contract gets stopped because he tripping right now.
Tripping.
Facts.
Let's get to it. What we talking about?
Jay from Chicago, right?
I'm from Chicago. I am from Chicago. Okay. I did move away for like 8 years. I moved to LA and Phoenix, and I actually really loved it in Phoenix. When I moved to Phoenix, it was really slow. And I probably was like wanting to cry a little bit. But then when I moved back to Chicago, I did cry. I was like, no, I don't want to leave Phoenix because I did fall in love. So I would move back there in the future.
How old were you when you moved to LA and Phoenix?
So I was early 20s. I got married at 19. So I moved out there with my ex-husband.
What'd you move to Phoenix for?
So I got married to my ex-husband. He's in the music industry. I'm in music as well. I'm a recording artist. And so he was my producer. Okay. I married my producer, y'all. I did the typical thing that they didn't want you to do back then.
It's a classic Ike and Tina situation.
Yeah, and it was like, and I ain't gonna lie, when I was in a booth sometime, that's exactly what it felt like. I was like, pushed it. Eat the cake, man. So it was that. He was really talented though, or is still. But so yeah, we moved out there. I lived in Atlanta, basically where the certain opportunities were.
Where the music, we moved other than there. Phoenix, because I can't see music being in Phoenix.
Okay, so basically we were creating a market there.
Okay.
So there we actually started an artist development company where we developed artists, and I was a part of that with creative direction, wardrobe style, and help developing artists. And
I didn't know that.
I got good feedback and stuff. I really loved it. I got you.
When did you get into singing and all that? Like that's dope.
Professionally at 15, but like growing up. I come from church, choir, so it was, choir, all of that. Yep, praise and worship team, show choir in school, all of that plays. But professionally at 15, I joined a girl group. I was in a girl group, so shout out to my homegirl Shonda Denise.
What was it called?
We was talking before this.
Parade.
I love that we was talking all before this, and like none of this was coming up, and it's like all new right now.
That's for the lounge.
Yeah,
it's for the lounge.
This is for the talk.
What was the girl group called?
Okay, at that time it was called Baby Dolls. Okay. And so we were at the Bud Billiken Parade, and I'm there with like other friends, and so these girls come walking up, and they're like, "Can anybody sing over here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my friend can sing." And then my homegirl Shonda, she goes, "No, can you sing?" And they're like, "Yeah, she can." And they was like, "Oh, we want you to come out and audition." I did that, and that was kind of the start of my music career professionally. So I kind of went in and out of groups, did solo.
And your man found you 4 years later.
I met him at like 17. The girl group, we ended up.
Because you got married.
We ended up working with him, and I got married at 19. So I got married and I had a baby the same year, y'all. I got married 1 week and gave birth the next week. Literally.
That's an interesting story.
In a week, 7 days apart.
Okay, so because it's the thing. I got pregnant out of wedlock, but coming from a faith-based family, I didn't want to give birth out of wedlock. So it was like, and my birthday was the week after I gave birth to her. So and then happy birthday, But so yeah, and then after that, it was I have 3 daughters. I got knocked up a couple years later. You don't
want no boys?
I want boys. I do, but I ain't in no rush. I feel like I gotta really love that man.
Ovaries need some rest.
My youngest is 11. I gotta love that man. I want to have your baby, and I don't feel like that.
And you gotta roll the dice because if it's another girl, you like, you know what?
Exactly.
I'm done.
I might have to go do what they do, like pick the eggs out.
Oh yeah.
Is that in vitro?
Yeah, but they can choose like the boy or the girl.
That you know all this stuff.
I work in healthcare.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
you
forgot.
So smart.
Everybody got a background in something, man. I love it.
So, you guys are currently married or
divorced?
Okay.
So you as the first other person on this show that is thank you for coming on here. I really appreciate you because the heat that I've been getting from these mofos.
And look, we got a shout out because Jay is the second woman that came on the show so far. Second guest.
Second guest.
I thought I was the first woman.
First woman, second guest.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
First woman,
I was like, I thought I was the...
No, you're the first.
Okay, I popped the Gentleman's Lounge cherry for the woman guest, y'all.
Look at that. Look at her. Call it out. Better get them props.
For sure. We got to give you a shout out for that. But Divorce. That's. I mean, my man's is going through a divorce right now. So, how is that? How was that?
I'm like, how was
what
that?
Transpired? And
You first.
You know, y'all had.
Because you could probably teach Jared something because he's going through it, and not to like make fun of your situation. However, it's to prepare you.
It's to what?
Prepare you for what's to come,
homies.
Give me some insight because I'm engaged and I don't plan to be divorced.
It sure sounds like you are.
And I didn't.
In case this
give me
goes
some insight.
south,
Let me know in advance. Of course, when I got married, I believed in like, when I do, you know? And so I just felt like over time, people are like, well, what was the reason? I'm like, we grew apart. Right. So that's kind of like the easy, and it's kind of like we grew apart, you know?
Yeah.
But obviously there was a lot of, I was young. It was 19.
How old is he?
He was, if we start telling ages and stuff, we start telling my age, but he was 4 more years older than me.
That's what I mean, man. So he was 23. Okay. So you were 19 when y'all got married. He was 23. Okay.
Okay. Yep. There we go. I turned in 23.
Turned in 23. Okay.
So
I'm good. I know.
Okay. You know,
it comes out of numbers.
But y'all don't throw out no other numbers right now. We ain't gonna talk about how long. We just gonna say it happened. But no, I feel like we say we grow apart. Obviously, there were other differences and things that happened along the way. Since being apart, I feel like we initially did have a great relationship. I do feel like, honestly, right now we're kind of trying to figure it out. You know, there's kids involved, so we still have to communicate. If there's not children involved, I can't say that we would necessarily communicate as often as we would have to, but I do feel like, to an extent, you could be friends with your exes depending on the dynamic of the relationship when you, like what were the terms of separating? I feel like to an extent you can. Like, I agree though. But it depends, like I said, and it depends on how that relationship was or how toxic it was, or was it just about sex? Because if it's about sex, you're always going to go back and just kind of get a little,
that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Like when it's on good, you know what I'm saying? You're going to get the little booty call every now and then. But if it's about, you know, it was just other things there and just kind of like you were friends first. Like, and I feel like that's what me and my ex, we were friends first. Okay. And so I feel like when you have that foundation, like I don't mean when I'm going through something with my relationship.
The minute you said that,
you calling. I ain't saying that.
I'm about to throw a dagger at you, but go ahead. Just so you know, because once you said that, I'm like, a question just popped in my mind. So go ahead, finish.
No, go ahead.
So you say y'all were friends first, right? Yeah. But like I said, my background's growing up in a house full of women. I've definitely, women are a lot more mature than men. Mm-hmm. However, you being 19, well, you were 15, but when y'all met when y'all were what, 17, right?
I met when I was 17.
Yeah, you were 17, which made him like 20 going on almost 21.
Yeah.
Men are known to manipulate younger women. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the question I got is, nowadays, do you feel like y'all were really friends, or do you think that he manipulated the situation and y'all were, you thought y'all were friends at the time?
I do feel like we were really friends. I do feel like that was genuine.
Shout out to him.
But
man.
I won't
say that
he didn't have some manipulation going on there looking back in certain, you know what I'm saying? Like I think about certain things. I was like, oh, I see how that went then before we were married. I see how this went during and then after. So ain't nobody perfect, right? But I do know that there was some of that sprinkled up in there somewhere. But I don't feel like it was. But it was genuine. He was a good guy. He's a good guy. But
so get on my nerves. How long were y'all married?
13 years.
13 years?
Yeah, go ahead and do the math.
You didn't say
I said I wasn't saying it because it started telling my bit. No, just like
13 years.
13 years though.
Big, though.
13 years married.
Double digits. When you get to them double digits.
Get a little. How the hell did y'all last 13 years? So do you think because y'all started young that you were really ready for marriage, or it was just like he asked me and I was just like, okay, well, I think we're good enough friends, so yeah, I'll go with it. Or do you genuinely think that you were ready for marriage?
So my mom was like, she's not ready. You know, he had moved to Atlanta first, and and I was supposed to be moving too, right?
At a young age, you went to Atlanta at a young age. You ain't ready.
I got a question for her.
He went. It was like for business, and I was supposed to move down there as well. And she was like, "No, she can't go yet. I have more grooming to do with her. Yeah. She's not ready."
That's
and I'm thinking like, yeah, she did. You know, and I stayed back, but the grooming was. I think I became like the second mom to my little brothers and siblings, you know. It was preparing me, and I feel like when I got What were we talking about? Look at me losing train of thought.
There you go. See, we talk because we bounce around. We talk about a lot.
Decided to get married.
Yeah.
If you were
you ready?
Oh, right. So then when I got into it, I did realize like certain things that I thought that maybe I knew I wasn't ready. I'm 19.
Nobody's ever ready.
And not only am I 19, to be completely honest, I was 19 and I was being groomed to be in the music industry, entertainment, acting, singing, like all. I was literally being groomed for that. Yeah. And then it was like, now it's marriage and it's a baby and it stripped me away. Like honestly, when I found out I was pregnant, I was actually in New York meeting with Sony and I had a deal on the table, got the contract, found out I was pregnant. Damn. And then literally like my manager was like, you can't do this. I told my ex-husband, I was like, well, if we don't tell them, you know, they naming all these other artists that they're going to put out first before my project comes out. I was like, well, we ain't got to tell them. We'll record the album, add a baby, snap that, tell them like once we're already halfway there. But, he was integral and he was like, no, we're going to do this. And then, obviously we didn't go through with that. Yeah. But I do feel like being groomed from that, I wasn't being groomed to be a wife. And so it was a lot of learning that I had to do, where honestly, he was grooming me to be what he wanted me to be for him. True. And then his mom was a great example for him. So then now it wasn't only that, it was, well, my mom does this and my mom, she took care of foster kids or this or that. I said that one time and it maybe wasn't, I was like, well, I'm not your mom. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? But, it was a lot of pressure, because she was a great woman. Yeah. And so it was a lot of pressure, like, okay, maybe I should be doing this. And I'm looking at other relationships and marriages that are his older friends and comparing. And it was funny because eventually down the line, when I thought that I wasn't so perfect or whatever, and having a lot of pressure, I had women who were older than me come back to me like later and say, I was actually looking up to you. I seen you doing this and X, Y, and Z. And I felt like, man, I need to step my game up. Yeah. And the whole time I'm feeling like I'm not enough. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of, but he was grooming me. Technically, I'm 19.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants, I'm being,
he's shaping you how he wants you to shape you.
Exactly. So, along with like.
You're raw. You're at that age, you're raw. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you still have growing to do and he can mold you into that.
And I think within that though, I was like losing myself. And that's what my family felt.
Because at the end of the day, like you're not being true to yourself because you're being someone that someone else wants you to be.
Absolutely.
You have no room to grow. You have no room to truly shine and be who you are because it's like, well, this is what this person wants me to be, so I got to fit this mold. Mm-hmm. Or like, what about me? Like, what about things that matter to me? What about things that I like, things that I love, like, or want to do? Like, you lose all of that, and by you being so young, like, that shit is tough. I can't even imagine
at that point because
I can't even imagine.
So
that brings me to another place, right? Where like I'm not gonna ask your opinion. Like artists today, right? A lot of times they feel like they not themselves, and I was reading up on this, right? Where it's like, yo, where you are, like Miley Cyrus. Let's just throw her out there as an example. I don't know why that name just popped in my head, but Miley Cyrus, right? Disney kids, all that stuff. Yeah. But then when you look back, when they get to a certain age, you're like, yo, I've become what other people wanted me to be. I don't even recognize who I am anymore. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of artists out there that think the same way, where they're just like, yo, I may be successful. Yes, I may be like happy making some money. However, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like I'm who everybody else wants me to be. Yeah. So do you feel like a lot of artists today are faced with them same obstacles? Is that something you were faced with as well?
I do feel like it was a period of time I was faced with that. And I do feel like there's some artists who still are, but the thing that I feel is great today is so many, like, is the independent route that everyone's taking. So I feel like that is allowing a lot of artists to be, that's the movement. So everyone's kind of being true. They have the room to be true to who they are. So I think that is the great thing about the music industry today is the independent movement now. Yeah, I do feel like that is like really good.
I gotta touch base on one thing. So if you met your ex-husband or your husband,
ex-husband.
I'm like, is it final?
Let's make sure we repeat back what she said.
I'm trying to use the correct terminology. I don't know if it's final or what. So
she said ex.
Your ex.
Thank you.
If you met him at 19, do you think if you would have met him at 29, 10 years later, that you guys would have lasted a little longer or still be together today? Or, Man, I'm dropping gems on him today at the Gentleman's Lounge, man. I'm going hard in the paint.
I'm
going hard in the paint today.
I kind of feel like I know that answer, but go ahead.
I feel like, are you asking? See, that goes to, like, I know 19, him, so it's hard to say that now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I felt like, honestly, to be honest, I still love you, baby daddy. To be honest, To be honest, I feel like if I would have waited, maybe like if we would have dated and been engaged a little bit longer, that maybe we would have kind of just been like, okay, well, we're just gonna be good friends,
or baby mama,
baby daddy, and be good friends.
You on onesie,
yeah, and you know,
and
so I
three.
feel like it probably would have been more so that because that first year was a hard year. It was a lot of things that went on, like personally in everyone's lives, and I saw a lot of things come out and change. And it was like if it was just a little bit more time, I would have been like, you know,
right. You know what? Red flag.
You know, so and I'm not perfect, so you know,
nobody is.
So
trust the process.
But for me, and to answer your question, I feel like maybe we probably would have been friends and baby mama, baby daddy vibe. Yeah,
a body count more than like a husband.
That's what's up. So going back to.
Okay.
You know,
my dad, that's a 10.
You're right, exactly.
Checks off the list. No.
Right.
Got him.
So going back to, you said you were married young, you had kids young, and you were forced to kind of grow up at a very young age. Do you think there's things that you missed out on during those glory years from like 21 to like 27 that you like, damn, I wish I could have waited or should have waited and did this, that, and the third?
Absolutely. And I feel like once I became single, I did some of those things. So
you live it backwards after that.
I ended up, it was like, I didn't used to go out. You know, when we went out, it was for like award show weekends and things like that. Yeah. Like, well, I mean, we did things, but like, nightlife, like I used to always want to say like I want to go dancing or something because I'm entertaining. I want to be outside, in a way. I didn't even know what outside was. Right. But then I got single. I was like, oh, this is outside. And then I overindulged in it too, because it was like I'm free,
Right. Hot summer, winter, spring,
hot girl, all of it.
All that.
Okay, I had a great time, and I mean, obviously, I made mistakes even during the beginning of single life, but I don't regret anything because they're all lessons and they're helping mold me because. After that, I have to relearn who I am. True. Now that I'm me, just me, I have to relearn who I am. And then what do I have to offer to anybody else in a new relationship and to my kids to be the best mom for them, So I can't, I have to do healing. I'm still healing, in certain ways, but I'm finding who I am, again, but definitely like the going out, it was like I was making up for it,
I think
so now I'm like a little bit older outside.
You're a cool chick, Jay. You're a cool chick. You're a dope chick. But I feel you on that because it kind of goes back to like an episode we were talking about a couple episodes ago where, I mean, at the end of the day, it took me this many years to learn who I am today. So for somebody else to be introduced to your life and think that they know you and can define you, you're just like, yo, regardless if you're 28, 35, whatever it is, it took me, let's just say 30 years to learn who I am today. I've known you for a year, maybe two. And you think that you understand me the same way that I like, it does not work that way. Right. You learning me and I'm learning who I am still. And who I'm going to be 2 years from now is not who I was, at this particular point. So I get you. So when I meet people like that, where they like, I got married young or I live life, very reserved, in a very, what's the word I'm looking for in a very conservative way early on in life. When I meet people like that, I'm like, yo, I'm not mad at you for living. So when they out there shaking their ass and they over there drinking and stuff like that, some things as an adult, you should be like, yo, that ain't for you.
That's right.
But other things, it's like, yo, I get it. And I ain't mad at them for it because I'm like, yo, I would live too if I was living backwards. Some people live a little too early. Some people live a little too late. Yeah. It's just like
I think the thing is being misunderstood during it though. Yeah. Because when I first was single, I can say that I was misunderstood in certain ways because people when like first going out, like people didn't know who I was or what I did or if I had kids, But then it was like when they found out, it was like, you're a mom and you're like out here kicking it. If I had children, I would be, and I'm like, first of all, you don't know that I've been a mom and a wife for 13 years and I'm having a little bit of fun. Like now I'm more like chill. I pull, I step out here and there, but it was like, you don't know my struggle. Right. You know what I'm saying? You haven't experienced what I've experienced. You're waiting to do the things that I've already done and still will do again and still do me.
And they at the club with you saying that.
And that's happened.
Then it's like, yo,
I promise you
at the same spot I'm at.
I was like,
care if your kids are
well, what are you doing here? You asking what I'm doing here?
Right.
Ma'am, what are you doing here?
You got to sit her tonight.
Okay. But I'm like, okay, my kids sleep, or at least they should be at this hour.
You make it to their birthdays, you know who they are, you have a relationship with them. Now, I know, trust me, as a parent, it goes a little bit deeper than that. But at the end of the day, if you have a relationship with your kid, and if you're present in their life, regardless of what it is, like I can be out living my life.
Yeah.
Shoot.
You can be a grown adult doing what you want to do, as long as you in your.
I'm trying to find you a new daddy. No, I'm just playing. Just joking.
Stepdaddy,
Stepdaddy.
Christmas is around the corner now.
I was just about to ask
a
that.
couple extra gifts under the tree.
Yeah, you know.
How was dating? How was dating for you today?
Oh my
versus back
gosh.
Being in the industry, being in the industry.
So back then, it was like I really didn't date like that prior to meeting. I met him so young.
Right.
So now, and then especially in the industry, I would say you don't know people's intentions. You know, slide in the DM, and it's like they may come off like, "Oh yeah, I see you doing X, Y, Z, whatever."
With the shits. I'm
trying to waste your time,
You know, and then it's like, okay, so are you trying to holla or are you trying to do business? Because I'm about my business first, and but I'm not naive. Right. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna fill it out. We'll have conversation, but and then just in general, like. I don't know. It's just a little interesting.
When do you know
here.
when it's like this dude ain't worth my time? Let me just go on.
I kind of know pretty much immediately. Honestly, the first conversation you kind of fill it out, but then I don't want to judge immediately. So it's kind of like that first hangout.
Yeah.
Okay. First impression.
First hangout is the conversation.
Do they all position like, yo, I just want to do some business. I want to learn a little bit more about you. I want to hear about your music.
Not everybody, but some have.
Yeah.
Some have.
So
and then I was like, you ain't trying to do business, sir.
I feel like that's got to be more draining, though.
Before you answer your question,
because before you ask your question, I feel like that's so much more draining because they're going to go in thinking like, you know what? I ain't even own that. I ain't even trying to hit. I ain't trying to smash. Like, I really think that you're a great artist, blah, blah, blah. And then y'all go on a date. Not even a date. You don't think it's a date. Y'all going on a business
It's a business meeting.
And all of a sudden,
we taking shots.
And you're like, why you buying me so many drinks? Like, what's up? Like, and all of a sudden, you're like, well, what you doing after this? And it's like, why?
And let me tell you, my tolerance is higher than yours, baby. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Tell them, shout out Grey Goose.
Shout out Grey Goose.
That's what's up.
So would you, if somebody was trying to shoot their shot at you, would you appreciate somebody being just blunt and straight to the point?
So
I feel like she wanted honest.
Nowadays,
I do. Okay.
Nowadays.
Total honest.
So I'll say this. Yes. Honest, I do appreciate that because now I know how to navigate and direct it. And I do like honesty. That's something that I'm big on in relationships, and especially my male relationships. I'm the home girl. I have a lot of male friends. So I am trying to see, okay, we homies, or you trying to cross the line or whatever, so I can know how I got to friend zone you or if I do want to take that next step with you. But I press, like, just be honest. Like, why we can't be real? You know what I'm saying? But definitely, I did have someone one time. He was trying to be cool. We probably exchanged 3 messages, met him through like another friend, never met him in person. Then one day I just woke up and it was a video. And I was like,
you said, this what you want or no?
He's like, you know what? I can't figure this out myself. Let me just sit this video up.
Literally. I was like, well, hold on, baby. But I asked myself,
this coming full throttle,
all the way.
No time to brace yourself.
It was anything before it. And mind you, it's Snapchat too, so you're going to get the video or the picture before you get the text. So I was like, so I said, you just woke up and said, hey, let me send J-Mont today. And he was like, he said, yeah, I just said, shoot, let me just shoot my shot and just see if you want to sit. I was like, I said, did I ever give you the impression? Did we have any conversation that this was that I thought that I wanted that? He said, no, I just want to shoot my shot. Either you're gonna turn it down or no.
Yeah, that's how you shoot your shot, though,
bro. I was about
he's
to
shooting
say
because that was what he wanted out of the situation. He said, I got a lot going on. I got a baby mama.
You don't have time for the
he said, I got a baby mama, a girlfriend, a side chick. I got a lot going on, and I'm just trying to have some fun. I said, well, I am not the one. Like, I'm like, I appreciated the honesty because now I know.
But that should have been week 1,
This was like week 2.
I never got that though.
I'm telling you, like the third exchange. Like,
I never understood.
And the rest of the exchange was like not long conversation.
Overly aggressive.
He didn't even have my number.
That's a different story than a different level of aggression, bro. Because it's like I would never just send my Johnson to because it's like
that's what I was about
this is if you ever see this or get this, you lucky. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just willy nilly sending this to everybody because that's just
some people like to send that.
It's because you done sent a whole lot more than me. And I'm like, all right, well, I gotta I'm like, it's gonna have to go down tonight. That's why I'm sending it to you.
I swear,
it's gotta go down tonight. That's just wild to me.
I did not know that unsolicited dick pics was a thing until I was single. I promise you, when my homegirls who were single before used to talk about it, I was like, what? Like, where did they do that at? And like now, I'm like, okay, you know, I got the whole world in my phone. Like,
clearly, dudes don't be
like,
on Twitter because
unsolicited?
chicks be clowning dudes on Twitter
Yeah.
for sending unsolicited dick pics. Man, what? They be clowning dudes on I'm like, bro, it's 2023. Y'all don't understand that women don't be wanting this?
Yeah.
And when y'all do something,
Like, if I want it, you gonna know that I want it. We on that level.
There's no face to this.
We're on that level.
There's no face to this. It's like, okay, I mean,
they legit.
it's like a girl sending you an ugly vagina. You like, look, girl, I'm pretty sure it still may be good, but your vagina is not that attractive, okay?
Those are out there too.
They out there too.
You ain't
There's
gotta
ugly
agree.
vaginas, there's pretty vaginas, but trust me,
Yes.
there's ugly vaginas that feel amazing, and you just like, yo, it's just
I don't wanna
send it
see
to
it.
me.
I
I'm
don't wanna
okay.
see it.
Don't send it to me because I'm more likely going to backpedal on you. Like, I'm good.
I can't agree with him on that one.
That came.
That there's ugly ones.
So you've never had somebody send you an ugly vagina?
You've never seen an ugly one. I've seen an ugly one.
I've seen an ugly vagina.
I seen something with a little bit extra meat, but it wasn't
You
ugly.
try to get descriptive
you
with
saw
it.
an Italian
Only
meat.
thing I see, only way I would call it ugly is if it's hairy.
All right,
Oh, so you like wax or like all the way?
I'm gonna get X-rated, bro.
It got to be waxed.
Have
bro.
you
See,
have
I
you
ain't
ever
gonna
sent
lie,
has somebody
that's my
ever sent you a
preference.
vagina where you just like, yo, I would never put my face down there a day in my life because
You
it's
know
so
you
ugly.
seen some shit like that, bro.
No,
Oh my god.
not anything that was sent to me specifically.
Oh, but
Absolutely
then
not.
shoot,
shit,
brother,
you
you
don't
gotta
have to
elevate
be
life.
sick. You don't have to be sick.
Elevate your life. You play football.
Elevate
you
my
never
life.
seen- You
That mean
never
I'm getting
seen
pretty
that?
pussy.
Or a very low value of it. I don't know what it is. Right?
Jared over there capping about it. Everybody
Why you
done seen an
lying
ugly
like that?
because all vagina don't look good.
Nah, they don't.
That's subjective to you as a person.
And that piece I get
That's
you.
very
That
subjective.
piece
That
I
is
agree.
subjective. That is
Yo,
subjective.
What may not look good to
I
you
hope one day you
may
just get a video or a picture full of like meaty vagina.
A nice Italian beef
With bumps
looking
And I just wanna see
vagina.
it. You know what? If I run into a chick and I'll be like, yo, you gotta meet even send that to my boy.
Send that to
man. I just wanna see how he act. Send that to my. And if you go in for the kill, I'm like, yo, you just clearly don't care. Right? Be like, yo, at the end of the day, I'm in it. You can be like, oh, vagina feel the same.
Look the same. Derail this.
I don't. This how X-rated this just now. Real this just got
If you
because you
ever-
just lied.
all of it looked the
Literally,
same. I did not lie. I
You
swear to God.
not
I've never
but you
seen
have an opinion of 3 different people, right?
That's like
a woman and 2 guys. To just say like, there's ugly vaginas.
I'm
out
like,
there.
they interesting at least.
That's y'all opinion.
Well, you know what? I'm proud that you.
That's like
cheers
saying
to
he
you
ain't never
only
seen an
seeing
ugly
3
woman.
vaginas.
That's like saying
y'all
he
need
ain't
to
never seen
elevate
an
y'all
ugly
lives
woman.
then.
It's women. It's women out here that's ugly.
Cheers
It's like he ain't
to
never.
I'm like, because
Hey, it is what it is, man.
cheers to the cool kid.
Yeah.
So back on you and your
Back on me.
Y'all share some commonalities.
Back on me.
Go ahead. Y'all share a
we
little
do
commonality.
share commonalities with being divorced or
Going through one.
Or going
One
through
and the same, yeah.
how has it been for you? Because I know for me, like, I don't have kids involved. I don't have like property or anything involved. So
Yeah.
mine is pretty much cut and dry.
Yeah, that's true.
We paperwork will be we'll be finalizing the paperwork in like a couple weeks. So it'll be finalized. Divorce will be completely over. But like, how has it been for you as far as like?
It's
'cause I
been
know
long
you
and
invested
drawn
with
out.
kids, you got a lot.
Scary.
What you trying to say?
Sign of a
It's been,
He's trying to prepare.
it's been
How long you been?
I guess what he let me know if you let
It's
me know
been
if what
3
you asking
years,
is this.
and technically the papers are not signed yet. But we are divorced,
Yeah.
and we have said this.
Yeah, it's
He used to say, "Can you tell people?" When he was dating, he was like, "If Shorty asked you if you were divorced, can you tell her that we divorced? You know, because we cool. We talk like that. He'd tell me about girls. You know, he asked my advice. You know, we cool." And I was like, "No, I'm not lying. I ain't saying that. Like, we not divorced on paper yet, but in our minds, we are. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get that done for this year.
What's taking so long?
I think it was just honestly, it's just been like life is happening and it wasn't like priority.
Yeah.
And then along with coming to certain terms with things.
Yeah.
Y'all have
Especially with the kids and just like other stuff. And, you know.
Because I know looking through my paperwork, they were like, well, shit, you ain't got no
It's
business
super
together.
easy
You ain't
for
got
you.
no accounts or anything like that.
We had businesses together.
We was together 14 months. Don't try to water down my 14 months of marriage.
13 years.
Some people don't make it.
14
Some people
months
get
of marriage.
annulled in them first month.
Yeah.
I ain't that one.
You
I ain't
did
that
that.
people.
You
You
did
know what?
that.
I'm still proud of you. I
You
mean,
did that.
Yeah, there's some people that definitely.
You think?
did
I
that
think I'm
last
proud
year.
of you.
that's
God,
crazy.
we talked about this on episode 2, I think, where I'm like, yo, that marriage, I'm looking like, wait,
Bro,
y'all known each other for a
It was a
month?
real.
I think the
marriage,
love
bro.
was real.
Like, it was.
I agree. The
truly
love
real.
was real.
Now, do I think I would put myself through that again to find a wife? probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, time is something
You learn a lot.
You learn a shit ton, especially like you meeting somebody in 7 weeks, you moving in afterwards, and then just trying to mesh y'all lives together. Like,
and they say that when you live with somebody is when you learn.
Is when you learn the most, for sure.
And I've never lived with a significant other before I got married. So that's
why they say that.
You're piling things on top of each other, and it's just like, damn, I got to do all this on top of learning you, on top of learning how to be a husband, on top of learning how to be a provider and things like that. Like that shit was hard.
Yeah.
That shit was hard, and people be like, "Well, why didn't it work?"
It wasn't. Not only was it hard, y'all didn't know each other for that long.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's different when you've gone through a process.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone through a process. Jay gone through a process. AJ semi went through a process because y'all
going through it. Y'all
only knew each other for like 4 months.
If you ain't know, I'm engaged.
I peeped that.
Yeah.
How long have you been engaged?
A year and a half.
How long were you together before?
Engagement, 4 years. So
but they were living with each other after 4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all been married.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So that's I'm looking
I've been married.
After he stalked her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know, something like
So
that.
after 4 months of like dating, y'all was like, let's move
Yeah.
in.
So me, I knew
How'd that happen?
knew what I wanted. I was set in stone.
That's good.
And she
You like
wasn't all
that.
the way in yet. I was all the way in. She had a foot in the door.
They say the man's supposed to love the wife more than she love him.
You know that's how
They
it
say a
goes.
lot of
Well,
stuff.
that's a good question. Do y'all
But-
believe in 50-50 relationships? Like there's like
No.
I agree with you, Jay. Okay. I think
We'll talk about that later.
I'm gonna give my all.
But look.
But when it comes to certain things,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm sorry.
It can't
I'm
be
used
this-
to, call
it
me
can't be
old fashioned when it comes to that. I'm used to my grandfather, my father, my ex husband, like just kind of just not
Taking the
being
lead.
50-50.
Yeah, most
You know
definitely.
what I'm saying? And I'm used to that.
50-50. Yeah.
and
sorry.
I ran into that.
Call me spoiled
I
in
ran
that.
into that. I think we talked about this too, but like, because what I saw as a marriage that worked is, you know what I'm saying, my dad, like that was the perfect example that I had. And my dad we never wanted for anything. You know what I'm saying? When it came to like providing all that, that's when my dad was like, oh no, we good. Like I never had to go without food, clothes, anything like that. So obviously that's what I've been trained to think is what a successful marriage looks like. And I tried to do the same thing in my marriage, and that's not what she wanted. Like, I mean, obviously that mattered, but like that's not the end all be all. Like that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to being a provider. But I had to learn that.
I was did say happy wife, happy marriage or life. Or
Happy
something.
life.
Happy wife.
But do
happy
you
life.
believe in those?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely
you
not.
ain't really follow
But
it 100%.
I told you. No. Because my pops was always a provider thing. So I provided in my relationship, but I provided like financially. That was the first thing when we got married.
When's your father's birthday?
November 20th. He's a Scorpio, just like me.
Scorpio too.
Oh, go ahead.
But when I got married, like I had my Blue Cross job, and I was like, well, shit, my salary is good enough for me. So then I picked up 2 other jobs. I started doing security, and I started doing bartending. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't want her to ever want or be financially constrained or anything like that. So let me go get this other bread so that, you know what I'm saying, we good. And me doing so, like, of course I was out late, you know what I'm saying, working these jobs, and financially she was like, okay, that's cool, but I'm not asking you for your money. Yeah. Inherently, I'm like, but you're my wife. Like, you don't have to ask me that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I'm saying? We're married.
I got a scenario.
Yeah.
But like that was just a tip of, you know what I'm saying, what she wanted. But like you said, like you got to learn those things because I've never been married before. I'm only going off of what I've seen in a successful marriage. And that's with my dad. And finances was always first in our family. Always first. My dad never told me he loved me. You know what I'm saying? I never seen my dad he never, you know what I'm saying, gave the children affection or anything like that. So it was always like,
that's
all
crazy.
Well, I see financial. And him and my stepmom would be affectionate towards each other, but finances.
That's something he learned from somebody else.
Y'all want to know some funny stuff that kind of mirrored that? Y'all seen Love is Basketball in here, right?
Of course.
Man, remember when Quincy made what's her name? This girl. He was like, you got to ride on my bike. She's like, I don't want to ride on your bike. I want to ride on my bike. He's like, well, my dad said, you know what I'm saying? The girls want to ride. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
You following your dad.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he was like, my dad said, oh. She was like, well, I want to ride on my bike. Then they get into it. And
she said, well, your dad works for the work. I mean, he plays for the works team in the NBA.
She's like,
that reminded me of that, bro.
You're right, yo. That's a good example, though.
That is.
You know, that's a classic example for the listeners and the viewers out there just because you have this perception, it just because, like, whether your family background, I came from a single family home, but just because your background is a certain way does not mean that that's how it's supposed to be across the board. Because at the end of the day, last time I checked, No shots at your dad. But Jared's dad didn't marry his chick after like 4 weeks.
No, he didn't.
And not everybody could be Michelle and Barack Obama, who got their issues too, which they talk about. They talk about like during the thing, like everybody goes through hurdles and stuff like that. Everybody got their stuff, right? So you can't think that one shoe fits all.
Yeah, it doesn't. And when I swear, when my dad told me this, the whole concept, happy wife, happy life, like you make sure that your wife is happy, she'll ensure that you're happy. Talking to my therapist, like my therapist was like, yeah, no, that thought is that shit is archaic as hell. Like
it was never correct in the first place. But yeah,
not
it is
a thing.
archaic.
Because at the end of the day, if you're making sure your wife is happy, cool, that's great. But what about you? What about your feelings? What about things that you like to do, things that make you happy? And I didn't realize that because, you know what I'm saying, we were going through our issues and I'm like, well, let me make sure that she's happy. She got what she needs. She got what she wants. But at the end of the day, I was still suppressing things that matter to me. And that's one of the reasons why, you know what I'm saying, there was friction between us. And I would never go into a relationship with that thought.
Big believer.
Happy wife, happy life, because you both need to be happy.
And you got to make your own self happy. The thing is, no one else can make you happy.
Yes.
True.
And like you go into a relationship or you think like, oh, I'm not happy. I'm going to be happy if I have a wife. I'm going to be happy if I got a girl. I'm happy if it's like, I can't, you got to either do some healing or be healing on the side, or shout out to Black Man Seeing Therapists. Like you have to, I cannot make you happy.
First off,
you
God,
cannot make me happy. Let's start with God first. Go get on your knees, go open your Bible.
Believe God, yes, I agree. You need to start with God because you can't say another person's going to make you happy if God ain't making you happy. That's one. And two, there's a reason why they say put your mask on first before you put your child's mask on. Because if I'm not happy in my situation or happy with who I am, how am I really going to make you happy as a person? You know, and it's vice versa. So I can go through the routine, I can go through all this stuff, but if I'm not happy, I'm really just a zombie after that. I'm the slave to you.
I'm here to just add to, to be in addition to be the help meet.
And you know what? It won't help that person out that much that you think, because I'm not doing this with all my heart. I'm not doing this in a happy place. I'm doing this just because you're telling me and that's what you want. So you're going to get the bare minimum. However, I could be so much more than what you asking for if you just allow me to do it the way I need to do it.
Most definitely. Let me tell y'all, let me put y'all on game on some stuff. And it also it's communication. You could think you're making your wife or your significant other happy, but in actuality, she or he is not even happy. You know what I mean? So me and my fiance at our old apartment, we had a long table, dining room table in our area. So we would go there every Sunday.
It's just two of y'all?
Yep, just two of
us. A long table that sits 12?
6.
C6.
6.
Okay.
It wasn't but so we would go there I would sit at this head of the table, she would sit at the opposite end, and we would just hash out any animosity or anything that we had that we wanted to put all on the table, and we would adjust for the next week. We'd be like, yeah, you know, we got this. I feel like you need to do better on this. I feel like you can do, better in this area. We would put it all on paper, talk about it, and then work on it the next week. You know what I mean? And then the next week we'll discuss it going forward and see what the changes and things we did. We worked on. So
I do feel like communication is a big thing. And not everybody can. It is like if you don't have that or open communication, that is a big wall. That's the biggest wall. Be receptive. Because the one thing is you can't do this. And I've dealt with this before where it was like, you don't communicate or something. The one thing, it was like, okay, you can tell me all the problems that you have with me, right? And I need you to fix this and do X, Y, and Z or whatever, right? And then as soon as I say, well, I got these problems, it's, well, why are you with me?
Right.
Defense mode, right?
Defense mode.
They went from the offensive to the defense.
Hold on, buddy.
Is that you, Jared? That's fair. I'm glad you're admitting your wrongs.
You can't do that. You gotta, the same way you want... The same way you want me to take in everything that you want to beat up on me of everything that you got issues you got with me, you got to be able to take that shit too.
But communication is twofold because you also need to understand each other's communication styles. And what works.
That's why it goes back to sports, but go ahead.
Because just like you just said, you want me to accept this, that, and the third. If my communication style is like anytime that you're talking or the way that you're talking or how you're talking to me, I automatically get defensive.
I was that though too.
I
was like, it's not what you're saying, it's how you saying it.
Exactly.
It's like, do you understand what I'm saying? Why does it matter how I'm saying it?
I'm big on that.
So like,
I don't disagree with that.
And that's one thing that I had to learn about too, because I've never been the greatest at communicating. Like even with all women that I've been with, like most of them have been very forthcoming with information. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Thanks. I didn't ask for that.
Yeah.
And I'm more so like, if you ask me, I'll tell you, but I'm not just readily volunteering information. But I'm not going to lie to you or tell you something different if you ask me. But I had to learn. Ayana was the same way. She was very forthcoming, and every time we would get into a disagreement, I would always just shut down because I'm like, well, damn. Like
I used to shut down too in the beginning.
I'm not receiving it the way that you're talking to me at, so I'm automatically going to shut down. But that's also like us trying to learn each other's communication styles.
Interesting.
That was me too.
But the way but she's telling you something, and she's over there expressing herself, thinking like if she does that, that's what you're gonna do back to her.
Yeah, I don't like the
so it's definitely a communication failure.
I don't like.
I didn't know.
It's a communication breakdown.
See, I grew up like what happens in the house stays in the house, right? So it was like I didn't really, yeah. So it was like I didn't really. Like my mom used to always say, if Jay is crying, then she's actually hurt, whether that's physically or emotionally. Because I would hold a lot in. I would, being the oldest of 6 kids and, just our family went through like different things. It was just like, that's just who I was. Yeah. But my ex, like he actually was big on communication. Yeah. And so how he communicated, I didn't necessarily always agree with how he did, but I appreciated that he did. So it was it's not how you say it, what you said, but it's how you say it. But I was shut down. And I think when I started kind of, if you want to say it's having a backbone or actually saying how I felt or communicating.
Growing up.
I think we started clashing more then. Yeah. Because it was like, now I'm being more vocal. And you might not like what I have to say. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It wasn't too much.
What's wrong with you?
No, it's the fact that she had an opinion.
I respect the head, but it was just, you're right.
The fact that you had an opinion.
But it was just like, now we're clashing and it's learning. It was us needing to learn how to communicate through that. Now I'm changing. Yeah. Because I've been with you since I was 19. Now we in the 20s and we going in the 30s. So it's like, what'd you say?
I remember Tina started sticking up for herself.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Stick that heel off real quick. Like,
you about to get this? No. We both leaving this. Stick that heel off. No. We both leaving the limo with a black eye. Listen to that limo like, no.
I said, that's right, Tina. Go ahead.
Stick up for yourself.
Y'all are crazy.
He figured it out.
He was like, okay.
He like, damn, there's too many damn scratches.
Yeah.
Too many scratches.
But I believe overall, I believe in like customized relationships now.
I agree.
Like we all have our different dynamics. Some relationships are open. Exactly. Some relationships are, like everyone has their own dynamics. Yeah. Like,
When he said that earlier, like there's no blueprint to a relationship. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see like what works for other people and you can take little tidbits here and there. But at the end of the day, like what works for you is going to be different from what works from your best friend or your parents or your grandparents.
And you got to be careful talking to all those people too about your relationship because
you get the mamas, them daddy be like,
the more opinions.
He leaving? He leaving at 11 o'clock at night? Where he going? Like, ain't nothing going on.
Ain't nothing open but legs.
Well, that's at 4 in the morning. That's at 4 in the morning, not 11.
But Griddle 24 is open at 4 in the morning.
And White Palace. And White Palace. And White Palace. And White Castle.
Food is open too.
Open at 4 in the morning, okay? All right. But 11 p.m., so what? If he wants to go out or she wants to go out, this is a new day and age. Like,
what y'all think is the latest that a significant, not a significant other, but a married man or woman should come in the house?
Depends.
The latest time?
Yeah, what's your curfew? I know you don't have a curfew, but what's your curfew?
I ain't gonna lie, because when we first was like going our separate ways, I was like, this was the beginning of me finding myself, and as we stand together, we not stand together, and I was outside, and he was like, Jay, you gotta come inside. I had to bring him out one time because I was coming in so late that I was like, no, he didn't go out. He's a homebody. I was like, no, because after the club, it's another club, and then I go and get soup from the diner, and then you know what I'm saying, for real. So when he hung out, and he was like, oh, I understand. Like he understood, but he was like, but still, and I was like, okay, it is disrespectful.
You got to skip. Like, you got to skip the diner or something.
You got to skip that. You got at some point you got to have a cutoff. You got to go.
Depends on who you with.
Home.
It depends.
I feel like 3 o'clock is a good late time because if you want to stay to the end of the 2 a.m. closing, the first club that closed at 2 a.m., you still got time to kiki, ha, get your tail to the car and get home. True. Or leave a little bit early, go get your food and get home. So I feel like 3 a.m. is like the latest.
Yeah, I feel that.
As a married person. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You got your one-offs where every now and then, every now and then
you,
however,
you're making your one-offs more consistent.
I've been trained.
You communicate.
Hey, I've been trained. Yeah, I've been trained a little bit.
You said you can't be trained?
I can be trained. Yeah, every dog can
be trained.
Traffic or whatever the case may be.
Where if there's a situation where, I mean, the industry I'm in and my career, like it calls for me to be out late sometimes.
And that's different.
If I know that I'm going to be out past, like you said, I feel like 3 o'clock is like your max. But if I'm gonna be out later than that because maybe the club we at is Chicago. Yeah. A lot of clubs don't close till 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah. I was sending her my location. And I will text her and be like, yo, so you know I'm out with these people, this is what I'm doing. Because I want her to feel confident that if she's staying up or maybe she wake up the next day and trying to piece these stories together, that she has everything she needs.
Staying up.
You know,
and I feel like that is the exception.
Or she sleep.
You know, women don't never really go to sleep.
Nah, we a little bit in between.
Nah, women don't never really go to sleep. If I come home at 6 of them, it don't matter if it's 3.
We in between.
Watching Netflix. I'm like,
all of a sudden, their eyes are closed, but as soon as they hear... You like, so I was walking softly through the room, and all of a sudden you walk.
So now I done crept in the bed, everything.
I didn't even take off my clothes, girl. My belt didn't even make no sound.
Get under the cover.
I didn't even go to the bathroom. But they know. They be like,
I had to figure. I thought I was the young.
You just getting in?
Right. Oh no. Look, this particular dude. She'll right when I come through the door, she'll go to her phone like, let me see the time.
Right. They never really go to sleep until you go home. It's like being a parent, right? Your kids going out. Parents don't never really go to sleep. Like they'll be asleep, but they like, yo, the lightest noise, I know to wake up because I'm already expecting like we need to have this conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but I feel like that's the customization.
Exactly.
Where it's like
a respect level.
Yeah, it is respect level.
If me and my wife didn't have that understanding, or if I didn't be forward with that, because I understand like that's gonna make her more comfortable. Then she gonna rip me a new one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather. There's no point of going out if I'm gonna get ripped.
But if you going MIA, then now we got an issue.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Which I ain't gonna lie, been there, done that.
Mine had my location too, so like me being in the industry, like, because I was working like 9 to 2. You know what I'm saying? 9 to 2 at the club. So obviously, if I've just been working this whole time,
you want to go have a good time now.
Go out and have a good time. And I'm talking about Friday, Saturday, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to go out. Like, I've been working.
It's fair.
So that's a little different too. So I understand that too.
Yeah. But sometimes, like you said,
but sometimes you can go home.
Out to me to coming outside with me to realize like it's a possibility that we can stay out this late. And this time when she stayed out with me, I was ready to go and she was still partying. I said,
here's the kicker though.
Turn.
Here's the kicker though, Jay. Sometimes she like, I'm gonna speak for myself.
Yes.
My fiance, she wants me to choose going home
over staying out late.
Over staying out with the guys and late.
You gotta know when to cash in, man. Get them nuggets.
Sometimes like every now and then I'm like, I'm just gonna come home. You know what I mean? Or say like after the podcast, we're gonna go out, kick it, have a little drinks a little bit, you know, or I might decline and be like, I'm just gonna go home and my lady a little bit. You know, she wants me to choose her sometimes and not go out. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to just pick your battles.
I feel like it depends on how often who you're choosing, what you're choosing, and that's what. But it is a pick you choose your battles.
You might want to stay out and kick it, but you like, man, I'm gonna just bite the bullet one time.
Does it make sense? Am I making dollars? How much of a good time is it gonna be?
The problem
is the problem is when you choose to I'm gonna kick it, and then you be like, man, I should just went home. This was whack. That's what I'm something happened. I'm like,
hate taking it.
I just spent $200-300 more.
Man, we about to have a time. It don't even be a time.
We had a time last night.
So I know we coming to an end right now, but
no doubt.
What's next for Jay? I know everybody know if y'all want to hop in her DMs,
hand, bro.
Make sure you come correct. Come.
Please, no unsolicited.
No dick.
Yep. Come to the real.
What's next for Jay with music, with Grey Goose, your influencer stuff, or in relationships? Like what's next for you?
Well, relationships. I'm still single.
Hit the DM, gentlemen.
At JEI Storm.
Now give your shout outs for real because we're about to close out. So go ahead. How can they reach you? What's next?
J Storm at J Storm. I'm a part of the flock with Grey Goose, and I work with my brother over here. Lester with Grey Goose, and just continuing creating content and just working with them. I love working with the brand. And then I have an online clothing store coming up, coming out soon. And then I'm also just working on brands for like their social media marketing and things like that right now. I have a love for like creating content. So I kind of just been helping brands do that and stuff. So yeah.
That's what's up.
Okay.
What's up?
And I'm gonna get back in the studio too. Everybody been like hounding me, and I'm like, okay, it's coming.
Let me hear a note.
But I thought
she didn't drink her tea and honey today.
Before I had to Google J Storm on the way here. I'm like, man, J Storm, she used to be a model or something, right?
I do. I do my little acting. I do all of that. You know.
Man, okay, gotta wear a couple hats.
In the works. But yeah, I wear a lot of hats, and I think that's the thing, balancing the hats with being a mom, you know, and then in dating is a big thing. So
you gotta have a balance for sure.
Ain't enough hours in the day, huh?
It's not enough.
It's
not enough.
Where they can follow you
okay,
at?
Ike.
They already said it.
Man,
so where you at? How can I get you?
Handsome Phenom. We're going to talk about that at a later day of where I got the name from. can follow me, Handsome Phenom, man. I'm AJ. I'm out.
You already know on Instagram, @JJones_05. Can't miss me.
All that slash, what's up, baby? In the Gentleman's Lounge, Gentleman's Lounge.
Make sure
Thank
you
y'all
like,
for having me.
subscribe, follow.
Cheers, guys.
everything.
Don't leave me hanging.
Go.
Cheers. Don't leave me hanging.
Let's go.
Don't leave me hanging on the cheers. Thank y'all to the Gentleman's Lounge.